was one pregnant.
Nearly there, just want to verify it's going up. Let me know when it's live.
And then. This is what the message means. This is easy. And I have like all of the descriptors like. It's not, it's probably not.
Wait for the video.
Oh, no, this is. Yeah, and then. It's about to go. Just
Okay, trustee Markov,
All right.
we are ready to go. You can take it away.
We'll call
We are live.
the meeting to order at 6:49. We'll have roll call. Trustee Vargas.
Here.
Trustee Alvarado.
Present.
Trustee Martin.
Here.
Trustee Morocco.
Here.
Trustee Markov is here. And we'll begin with a pledge of allegiance. Trustee Vargas, would you mind leading us, please? Thank you.
Please rise. Put your hand over your heart. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You'll be seated.
We acknowledge the Payam Kawisham, the people of the West, as the traditional land caretakers of the land on which Vista Unified School District was built and its surrounding traditional cultural landscapes. Today, the Payam Kawisham are known as Luceño and are made up of 7 bands: La Jolla, Paula, Palma, Pachanga, Rincon, San Luis Rey, and Soboba. We, Vista Unified School District, are mindful of the indigenous peoples in this place, and we pay our respects to Luceño, past, present, and future. We are grateful to have the opportunity to be a part of this community in Luceño territory and to honor their history, culture, and perseverance of spirit. We have some reports, actions taken in closed session. On June 25th, 2026, the board in closed session by 4 yeses and 1 abstention took action to reject claim 2526-06 as recommended by the district's third-party property and liability administrator. Also on June 25th, 2026, the board in closed session by unanimous vote took action to approve agreement concluding real estate negotiations pursuant to Government Code Section 54956-8. I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda with, I'd like to move item 16A, which is
A report.
a CBOC report to right after 6C. So essentially become kind of an item 16. Yeah, don't mind.
I move to approve the agenda, moving 16A. Go ahead. Moving 16A after 6C.
So, yeah, 6C after 6C.
But, okay, so I am curious before we go, I have a question about the agenda.
Sure.
Are we going to approve the budget and the LCAP before we discuss item 7M? Or item 7.0?
Yeah, the budget,
looks like it's in
is
order.
prior to that.
Okay, I kind of would like to have those discussions about those resolutions before we pass the LCAP and the budget. If there's not any objections to amending the motion to move those 2 items to the back, so that would be sorry, trying to get to this. It would be
We're talking about M, N, and O.
yeah,
7MO.
yeah, 7M. I'm on the wrong agenda item. The wrong agenda.
You're talking about
Yeah.
intra-district budget transfers.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm on the wrong agenda, so that's why I'm confused. But yes, I would like to move those up ahead to like the front and O and S added to A, B, C, D that I have.
Let's have
Okay.
Dr. Loescher address your request. So just to restate what I believe we're hearing
you would like to move items M, N, and O
And
above the budget approval, which is item 7D.
yes, let me make sure that that's correct. 7 MNO. Yes.
Those are the transfers.
And S.
And S, okay, so we'll have Dr. Locher address it and then
Okay.
the board can deliberate.
Okay,
For item 7O, you're required to pass that item after you pass a budget, so you cannot hold a vote beforehand. You can do the meeting in a procedural order you choose, but that's the education protection account. There's nothing to vote on, and you're required to vote on it after you pass a budget, because it's tied to the budget and all elements within it for teacher salaries are within that budget in and of itself. So happy to do it, however, would be the pleasure of the prerogative of the board, but the official vote for that item cannot be till after the budget is passed.
And the other items? Dr. Locher, the other
No,
items?
just that one.
The other ones could be moved.
Yeah, the other ones can be moved. That one the vote has to be after, just like you cannot pass the budget until you have had the LCAP. You have to do the LCAP first by law. There's a sequential order.
Maybe just take 10 more seconds to explain the EPA so they understand how it relates to staffing.
Yeah. So the educational protection account is a fixed amount percentage based upon a calculation from the state of California that must be spent towards education once it's located in the budget. This is really a legal procedural item that's tied to various propositions over the decades through things. And essentially, it just requires the board to state that the amount specified in this amount, 28 million, is in fact been reserved to spend on teacher salaries in this case. It is located, all the teacher salaries for this are located within the LCAP. And again, there's a specific sort of order of events that have to happen procedurally with a passage of the budget, which includes first the LCAP has to go, then some of the indicators, then the budget, and then this item would be passed afterwards.
okay, I'm amenable to keeping item O where it's at, but if we could just move the other items ahead, if the maker of the motion would be so kind as to amend her motion.
Would you specify that?
I have them here if you want me to read them back
Let's
to
bring
you.
it back.
Yeah, so the motion would be to approve the agenda with the following revisions. 16A would go immediately after item 6, all items of 6. And then 7M, N, and S would move prior to item 7D.
Yes,
The 7D is the budget.
yes, that'd be great. Sure, thank you. There's a
You good
second,
with that or you want me to restate it?
no, but I'll second. I think, Brown, did you second? Second.
Further discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
The opposed, the abstention? Okay,
One more
Jen?
question,
was that?
one more question, if we're pulling off a consent calendar, do we do that now? or
No,
will we-
no, that comes out.
Got it. Thank you.
All right, we're gonna move on to item 5A. We have some hold cards. Please keep your comments to 3 minutes. Let's see, I'll read it from official. Any member of the audience who wishes to hold and speak to an agenda item or an appropriate time can speak to an item not on the agenda should complete a hold card. In an effort to gain as much public input as possible, individual speakers will be limited to 3 minutes or less. A total of 20 minutes will be held for public comments under item 5A. So with that, we'll invite Marlene Lopez up.
Good evening. My name is Marlene Lopez and I've been an employee at the Vista Unified School District since 2021 and have been a payroll technician for the past 4 years. I am here to speak on behalf of the payroll technicians for the district. During my short tenure in payroll, the department has undergone continuous turnover in both management and technicians. For various reasons, it has been a challenge to retain knowledgeable, consistent personnel in our department. When I started in 2022, our staff consisted of 2 senior technicians and 3 payroll technicians. For the amount of people this district employs, this is considered a full staff. This was over 4 years ago, and it was the last time the district was adequately staffed, and unfortunately, it did not last very long. Since then, active personnel have ranged from 2 to 4 technicians over the past 3 years. And some of that time was without knowledgeable manager or to oversee the department, or even no manager at all. Payroll has been overworked, burned out, and on the brink of collapse, but not a lot of people knew what was going on. No one knew how much overtime we worked. No one knew our struggle to stay motivated, not only to do our job, but to do it with the attention to detail and accuracy it deserves. No one knew because everybody still got paid. Fast forward to today. Today we have 4 technicians. Our most recent addition started in February, and that vacancy was a challenge to fill, not because we didn't have worthy candidates, but because we were told the position was put on hold and was potentially going to be cut. If it were not for the valiant effort and support from our union representative, that position may never have been filled. Currently, we are being told the same thing regarding our fifth and final vacancy. We have been told that our final vacancy will remain just that, vacant. And there is no hope that this position will be posted on EdJoin in the foreseeable future. This revelation was without a doubt disappointing and demoralizing for our department. Luckily, the payroll team that is in place genuinely care and remain committed to executing our responsibilities. We understand how important our job is, and that what we are wondering right now is why don't the individuals making these decisions see it from our perspective? There are approximately 3,500 employees in the school district. 2 of our current technicians are responsible for over 1,000 employees each. That is simply unacceptable. No technician should have that much responsibility on their desk. Adding that final technician to our team will help alleviate the stress amongst our current staff. We are not here tonight asking for anything extra. We're here asking for reconsideration. Please reconsider the district's stance on what is perceived to be an expendable payroll position. It is not expendable to us. I appreciate your time.
Rob Howard.
Where's the time? Because I'm long-winded.
I'll time it.
You got it, okay. Hi, everybody, Rob Howard. I am the External Affairs Manager for Clean Energy Alliance. I wanted to stop by. I was coming to listen to another part of your agenda, but while I was here, I just wanted to share with Superintendent, President, and the entire board that we have several programs. We understand that affordability is an issue for a number of people, and so we wanted to just let you know that we have done a few things to help. One, on the Clean Energy Alliance YouTube channel, we have a webinar on how to read your bill that has several options for savings and cost reductions on your bill. One of the things that people don't realize is that you can often stack the different programs. People who are on care often think they can't qualify for other programs. People who barely miss the qualification for care can also would be able to qualify for FARA, another discount program. So there are a number of programs, and I'm available to help talk to you about that. For your residents in the district, we have programs where we can give people solar and battery at no upfront cost, no credit check. We have that program available. There is also a program that's starting up now with the County of San Diego and San Diego Community Power. And so everyone in the county is qualified to participate in the San Diego Regional Energy Network. And there's everything from business opportunities that are available there to help do refrigeration on small businesses up to basically weatherizing and energy efficiency items for your homes. And so I'll leave you 2 flyers. One of the things we do, all our information is in both English and Spanish. We actually have 2 webinars, one in English and one in Spanish. But this one, we're awarded a grant for the Equitable Building Decarbonization Grant. With that grant, we work with people in census tracts. I can send you those census tracts to know which ones are eligible. It is income-based, 80% of area median income. And again, we can send you the numbers, but home weatherization and air sealing, heat pump water heaters, heat pump cooling and heating, electrical appliances, induction cooktops, energy efficient lightings. So we want to make sure, instead of mass marketing, we want to target the people in those census tracts. So I would just like to have a contact that I can talk to and have our staff meet with folks. We have bilingual staff that is able, willing, and ready to support the members in your district. And so I can leave these with, who should I leave them with you? And these are just 2 of the flyers, but of course we can send you electronic copies of that information, and If you have places where people will meet, gather, you're talking to them, tell us how many flyers you need, we'll send them. Again, Rob Howard with Clean Energy Alliance, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to share.
Mr. Howard, you said, point of clarification, you talked about San Diego Regional, what was that?
Energy Network, they call it SDREN for short, but no one knows what SDREN stands for. So,
Thank you.
okay.
Matthew Gerson.
Thanks for having me. My four-year-old's going to TK. She's gonna be given an iPad 3 times per week. I guess I have to sign Vista Unified Student Acceptable Use Responsibility and Agreement for Technology Devices. But when I read it, it sure sounds like the district is avoiding a lot of responsibilities. Some quotes. It is impossible for VOSD to restrict access to all controversial or inappropriate materials. Filtering technology is not perfect. Objectionable materials can be viewed. VUSD denies any responsibility for the accuracy of information obtained from the internet. It's very comforting. On AI, at least you're honest that you don't know. You say AI can improve efficiency of education. AI has the potential. AI may not always provide accurate info, but yet you're hoisting these unproven, unverified, expensive, and frankly dangerous programs onto our youngest kids. Screens in the classroom take away from what actually works. Tangible human connection, collaboration, and hands-on learning between their classmates and, most importantly, their teachers. Districts across California are reversing course. Just this week, San Diego Unified, Santa Barbara Unified, and Los Angeles Unified all announced forthcoming changes to their tech policies for kids. In LA, no screens for first grade and younger, period. In San Diego, no computer carts in TK classrooms. Even our neighbor, San Marcos Unified, now offers opt-out clauses for parents and has committed to the creation of a human-centered technology plan. Vista has to embrace a fundamental shift in our tech approach and eliminate unnecessary screen exposure. And critically, immediately conduct a comprehensive curriculum and program review, given that the overwhelming majority of ed tech programs like iReady are not supported by independent research demonstrating improved student outcomes at scale. But you're about to adopt iReady for reading assessments for the upcoming school year. That is wild. Public consensus is growing against the over-reliance of technology in our schools. Protect the development and the academic success of our students. The time to act is now. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we're gonna move on to item 6A, report from the Vista Teachers Association.
There'll be no report.
No report, okay. Is there a report from the CSEA?
Rachel, I'm not aware.
I'm not aware.
Okay, and do we have a report from
Yes, we do.
DLAC?
That's
Right.
Buenas tardes, estimados miembros de la mesa directiva. Hoy 25 de junio les hago una actualización de DILAC para la mesa directiva. DILAC llevó a cabo una reunión el 18 de mayo del 26 en el Centro Multilingüe de Vista. En el punto número 1 se contó con quórum con representantes de 16 de las 22 escuelas presentes. Como punto número 2, en la reunión de mayo se abordaron 3 temas. Como primer punto, representantes de la Biblioteca de Vista compartieron información sobre los programas, eventos y recursos de verano disponibles para los estudiantes y las familias durante los meses de verano. Como número 2, el director Rafael Olavide facilitó una sesión en retroalimentación sobre el CAP. Los representantes de DILAC revisaron y analizaron las metas, programas y servicios del distrito, proporcionando comentarios y recomendaciones para apoyar el rendimiento estudiantil y la participación de las familias. Como punto número 3, se revisaron las tendencias en la encuesta anual y las recomendaciones basadas en los resultados de las encuestas escolares. Los representantes analizaron las áreas de fortaleza y las oportunidades de mejora y discutieron recomendaciones relacionadas con la comunicación, la participación familiar, el apoyo académico, los programas educativos y el bienestar estudiantil.
Good evening, members of the school board. Today, June 25th, I bring you our DLAC update. DLAC conducted a regular meeting on May 18th, 2026 at the Multilingual Center in Vista. For the point one, quorum was met with representatives from 16 of the 22 schools in attendance. For point two, at the main meeting, 3 topics were discussed. Topic number 1, representatives from the Vista Library shared information about summer programs, events, and resources available to students and families throughout the summer months. Number 2, Director Rafael Olavide facilitated an LCAP feedback session. DLAC representatives reviewed and discussed district goals, programs, and services, providing input and recommendations to support student achievement and family engagement. Number 3, annual survey trends and recommendations based on school survey results were reviewed. Representatives analyzed areas of strength and opportunities for growth and discussed recommendations related to communication, family engagement, and academic support, instructional programs, and student well-being.
Como punto número 3, los representantes de DILAC desarrollaron y presentaron recomendaciones para apoyar el plan de control local y rendición de cuentas, el CAP del distrito, incluyendo, como punto número 1, ayudar a los padres a comprender mejor las diferencias entre los programas de inmersión estructurada en inglés e inmersión en 2 idiomas. Como segundo punto, garantizar que todas las escuelas cuenten con acceso a un enlace comunitario. Punto número 3, ampliar el acceso a sesiones informativas grabadas para padres. Punto número 4, incrementar las oportunidades deportivas y extracurriculares para los estudiantes. Punto número 5, apoyar oportunidades de lectura en grupos pequeños dentro de la instrucción de alfabetización. Siguiente punto fue expresar apoyo a la eliminación de la evaluación a mira en pantalla para estudiantes de TK a segundo grado. Siguiente punto, garantizar que todo el personal cuente con las credenciales y calificaciones aprobadas. Siguiente punto, explorar oportunidades de capacitación en servicio al cliente para el personal escolar y del distrito. Siguiente punto, mantener a maestros de kinder altamente calificados en sus asignaciones de aula y minimizar reasignaciones que interrumpan la continuación de la enseñanza. Como punto número 4, los representantes también expresaron su agradecimiento por los esfuerzos del distrito y alentaron la implementación de las recomendaciones proporcionadas.
Point number 3, DLAC representatives developed and submitted recommendations to support the district's local control and accountability plan, including recommendation number 1, helping parents better understand the difference between structured English immersion and dual language immersion programs. Number 2, ensuring that every school has access to a community liaison. Number 3, expanding access to recorded parent information sessions. Number 4, increased sports and extracurricular opportunities for students. Number 5, support small group reading opportunities with literacy instruction. Next, expressing support for the elimination of the AMIRA on-screen assessment for students in grades TK through 2nd grade. Next, ensuring that all staff possess the appropriate credentials and qualifications. The next one is exploring customer service training opportunities for school and district staff. Lastly, maintaining high-quality kindergarten teachers and classroom assignments and minimizing reassignment practices that disrupt instructional continuity. And point number 4, representatives also expressed appreciation for the district's efforts and encouraged the implementation of their recommendations provided.
Gracias.
Yeah, so we'll move on to item 16A, annual report to the board by the Citizens Bond Oversight Committee.
We'll have Dr. Loescher introduce.
Thank you very much. Good evening, President Markov, Vice President Vargas, all members of the Board of Trustees. The Citizens Bond Oversight Committee is a requirement of all Proposition 98 JO bonds as part of the 55% plus one vote requirement, with therefore not requiring a supermajority. Measure LL is a Proposition 98 bond, has an active CBOC. Our chair, Mr. Garrison Ham, is here this evening to share with you the general findings of the CBOC this year. The CBOC by law publishes its own independent findings to the community, not to the board, but does share out of professional courtesy their findings, which is located within the front letter. He will be walking you through that shortly. On a side note, I wanted to thank Mr. Ham, who's also a member of the San Diego County Taxpayers Association, for his outstanding leadership of the CBOC, particularly towards the end of Measure LL, where we are looking at a variety of things, including contract efficiency and other items. He's been wonderful in rebuilding this final iteration of this CBOC as we come to the end of it. And with that, I'll turn it over to Mr. Garrison Ham, the chair of the CBOC. Mr. Ham.
Good evening. I'd like to thank the board for affording me the opportunity to come here and present our findings here with our annual report for 2025. Our 2025 Citizens Bond Oversight Committee report this past year will focus primarily on the Beaubier Elementary School Modernization Project update. As we're going into the end of the bond, this is the last major project that we are undertaking. Some of the highlights from this report is auditors from E. Bailey CPAs and Business Advisors stated that they noted that there were no instances of non-compliance. After sampling 97% of total expenditures, it was found that in all significant respects, the district has properly accounted for the expenditures held in the building fund, and such expenditures were made for authorized bond projects. So a pretty high level of compliance from our auditors. To Dr. Loescher's notes, I'm also pleased to announce that this past year, the Vista Unified School District received an A+ in the San Diego County Taxpayers Association's transparency report. This shows a trend of improvement over the past few years, where this Unified School District has consistently improved its grade and is now, quite frankly, an example for the entire county to follow. I'm really proud of both the CBOC and the staff for all the hard work that they've done to make this happen. Finally, some of the smaller projects, for the district have been funded through a variety of other sources, which has been able to free up some of the Measure LL bond funds, which is really important, especially as we're going into this last major project. The CBOC does meet quarterly to review budgets and expenditure reports, and also receive updates from staff and the facilities bond management team. We'd like to encourage the members of the public to attend these meetings if they want to sit and just watch, or if they have any questions, we're more than happy to receive their input, and we highly encourage it. And then finally, as chair of the committee since August 2025, I want to thank the educators and family for their support during this period, as the district continues to charge forward with the execution of Measure LL and the community's commitment to the USD students. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, move on to item 7A. Adopt the work control accountability plan for the 2026. I'm sorry, what's that?
We moved it prior to the budget.
Okay.
So you're right, I have your items, they're coming
Okay,
up.
thank you.
Yeah, 7M, N, and S will be after 7C.
Yeah.
Okay, thank
So
you.
7A through C do not have any presentations, because we completed those presentations to the board just a few weeks ago. But Dr. Shigela is available for any questions that you
I
have.
do have a question. If we approve this, is it, do the resolutions that we're going to potentially approve later on?
Yeah, so the resolutions you're gonna talk about, we'll get to those when we get to them, don't have any impact on the LCAP.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Okay, I entertain a motion to adopt the local control and accountability plan for the 2027 school year?
Well, although there might be one more card. Is
Yeah.
it for that
Oh, I
item?
apologize.
That item, 7A?
Seven.
Okay. So,
Thank you, thank you. Matthew Bearson. Item 7A.
Sorry about that, Matthew.
Yeah. It's okay.
We caught it.
Hey, accountability, I like that.
That's right.
All right. Thanks for having me again. A little over 4 hours into the April 23rd board meeting, Dr. Doyle, you talked about how VUSD was ridding itself of a mirror. There was an applause in the background from this board, patting yourselves on the back for making that decision. And thank you for doing something. But you just traded Marlboro Reds for a vape pen. In action 4.12 on page 129 and metric 4.29, it states that you're replacing Amira with iReady. Fun fact, Curriculum Associates, the maker of iReady, is currently being sued for violating the Children's Online Privacy Protection Rule for collecting unnecessary data without consent. But we'll skip the moral ambiguity of farming off reading assessments to a venture capital funded company that boasts $750 million in annual revenue. Do you know if iReady or any generative AI program actually works? How would you? Curriculum Associates has not done a single randomized control trial to prove iReady's effectiveness. There are 0 independent studies that have corroborated positive high-stakes outcomes directly correlated to iReady's usage in school. iReady generates lots of data. Easy to monitor, centralized dashboards. Administrators love it. But it takes diagnostic data away from teachers and leaves them with summary dashboards that cannot inform actual instructional decisions. So why did Vista Unified make this decision? Anecdotes, sales pitches, keynote speeches, just the feeling it works? Before you force screen time on kids by gamifying reading comprehension, we need independent third-party data that iReady works at scale. If you don't have it, pull it back, because we know it works. Curriculum-based measurement, working in real life, face-to-face with our classmates and our teachers. Don't dumb this down by freezing our kids in front of a tablet while they get fed dopamine loops by cartoons masquerading as education experts, all while private equity steals and sells their data. The time is now to take a hard look at this district's reliance on EdTech. Thank you.
I was gonna ask Dr. Shigella to address about what the role that iReady plays in this thing.
So iReady as a reading assessment will be used in grades 3 through 8. And Amira is a screen-based that was used with the youngest kids. We got rid of that and we're switching to Dibbles, which Trustee Alvarado uses. And that is a human-to-human interaction assessment that will be used for our youngest learners. The only thing that's done with the screen in that is the teacher inputting into the computer system.
And then iReady, will that be for, do our students use that? How much time do the students spend on that?
So let's divide out iReady. iReady has 2 primary components. One component is assessment. The other component, there's an instructional component. We had a lot of discussion last year going into the Blueprint LCAP process about screens. And so the board made the decision along with district staff that we would not purchase the instructional component of iReady for mathematics anymore. And so the assessment component does exist in the LCAP for mathematics and for ELA. And the ELA part is grades 3 through 8. And there is part of the contract, and what we discussed at the April meeting was the off-ramp from screens, especially in elementary. And the teachers have been, so we're aware that districts are, sort of like this and that. What we also want to be cognizant of is the system has set up and prepared teachers to instruct in that way. And so what we also have in the LCAP is a lot of money into math transformations and continuing core reading and phonics, so that teachers have the expertise to continue teaching in person and they don't become reliant on the screens. We have an age of teachers who actually grew up on screens in their own education. And then their teacher prep programs prepared them. We as a system society provided a lot of screens, especially COVID. And we all agreed and we've talked about the dopamine spikes and gamification and the ramifications. So we're on board and I appreciate the conversations that we've had around that. Appreciate the public's conversations. You and I spoke at that meeting outside in the courtyard. And so our principals are all on. We talked about the instructional component of iReady ELA in elementary school. And half the principals were like, maybe we just rip off the Band-Aid. And some were like, I'm not sure, I think my teachers need some time to like, how do we actually do this? You asked about time. And so iReady is not to be used for more than 15 minutes in any given moment and no more than 15 minutes per day.
Is it safe to say that we are embarking, in your opinion, because I don't think the board has had a outright discussion about that, but in your opinion, is it safe to say that it seems as if we are transitioning away from screen-based teaching?
Absolutely, 100%. Yep.
And wasn't that a board directive?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So last year we got rid of iReady math instruction, which was screen-based. We pulled that as a district. And this year we're pulling the Amira, so we're pulling the things back for sure.
And we also did the entire look at all the technology programs.
Yes.
We did a survey with the teachers of which ones they preferred and didn't. We're dumping all the others to realize added dollars that we're not utilizing correctly. And we're slimming down the choices of technology in the classroom.
Yep.
Teachers and limiting the time for the children.
Yes. And the principals are on board with that.
And we're also including a robust program to address AI and the negative impacts of AI on children in the classroom. So we actually have an exemplary program across the county to address that.
And shoot, I had a question about the only one way. It was are we doing professional development? You mentioned about the teachers. So are we in the LCAP, is there money for professional development to help those teachers?
So one of the things that we do specifically, Dr. Doyle actually set up this structure years ago, is we have what we call principal directors, principals who have expertise in different areas, and then they lead special missions, so to speak. And so Carrie Perez is our ed tech guru. She's the principal at Monte Vista, who makes a point of working with parents, because there's a multifaceted thing here. So we can pull all the screens out of the schools, which is fantastic. And then we go to Red Robin and families of 4 are sitting and they're all on their, so we have to also work with the families in addition to understand the implications. Because when I was the principal, what I always told parents is schools are simply a microcosm of society and what is happening at a large scale. So yes, Carrie has been in charge of them. She's been working with principals who then go back and work with their teachers. When technology is used, the goal is, and it's by older kids, around content creation and not content consumption. Because in the vast swath of saying, let's just get rid of XYZ, we also have to be mindful. And so this is why we put the survey into the parent LCAP feedback survey. We asked about screen time, we asked about AI. And when we reported on this to you, the reviews are split. Some people are like no, you can't do this. And other people are like, this is the future. If we don't take the time to prepare our students now in a responsible way, then how do they join the workforce and they're ready? And so then that leaves people like us back on the balancing sheet of how do we do that? So on the same page of dopamine spikes and all the other things mentioned, and then how do we safely integrate into all this? And so Carrie, specifically to your point, has been working with the principals, and she sets up slide decks and information in PD that then can be shared with the teachers at all the sites.
She also does parent trainings.
Yep, and we host parent trainings.
Thank you. I am ready to make a motion if there's no.
Right, yeah, entertain a motion for item 7A.
I move that we approve item 7A, the cap for the, I screened it off, so 20.
26,
26-27 school year.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Further discussion.
Oh, further discussion. Okay, yeah, further discussion.
Because we are having an influx of money, the 28 million we're seeing realized, and then also the student services grant. I would like to see in the LCAP that we eliminate the split shifts, the split sites for custodial and CNS. And my rationale behind that is we are burning them out. And our classrooms are not as clean. Please visit sites during the school year and you'll see they're just not able, especially in the elementaries, to get the desks sanitized, to get the floors vacuumed, and these kids are on floors and on tables. And so I would like to see that happen so that we can make sure that our environments for the littlest kids are as clean as absolutely possible. For CNS, some of them are coming in at 5:30 or 5 o'clock just to get ahead to try and get their preps ready. And some of them have to split sites. And so since we do have additional funding, let's try and treat our classified employees with more respect. And the best thing we can do is set up morning, swing, and afternoon sites or shifts. I've talked to a few custodians about that. It'll overlap. We can get the cleaning done, vacuuming done, all that. CNS wouldn't have to come in and work off an hour off the clock just to get their jobs done. So I would really like to see that before we approve this. I would like to put that in. And Matt, you can probably talk about the August.
Yeah, so we hear you. That's absolutely a conversation this board can engage in. What we would recommend tonight is to approve the LCAP as is, and we can address this, and we would address it in the 45-day, which would come up in August. And the board can make any adjustments to staffing. It doesn't necessarily have to be embedded in the LCAP. I would recommend that you don't adjust the LCAP after it's approved tonight because it takes 3 months to adjust an LCAP, but we absolutely can restore positions if the board chooses to move in that direction and we have sufficient financing to do it.
In August.
That would happen in August during the 45-day. We can't recommend that now because I think you all know the state hasn't approved their budget yet. So we anticipate a solid budget, but we can't commit to that yet. What we're proposing tonight, both with the LCAP, the blueprint, and the budget, is a budget that we can commit to based on the information we have so far.
Yes, and we
So,
are-
but we should let the record show that you requested that as an item. We will bring it back during the 45-day.
Yes. And we heard someone talking about the payroll department, and I know from personal experience that we have substitute teachers that are missing paychecks, missing paydays. And I think so that possibly could.
We'll just create a staffing
Yes.
agenda item
That's
during the
what we can-
45-day.
Can you add, we have a list that we created of all the things we want to see back or add? So
We've actually addressed
Yeah.
we've addressed everything on your list that you did previously create. So these are new items that have come to us and they're fine, and we can have that conversation. My recommendation is that we have a generic topic, so you can bring up a variety of stuff.
I mean, last month we talked about assistant principals and we did have them, so
Yeah.
there's still more work to be done. And then I think,
Absolutely.
on that list, I think there's things that I would love to see further. If we can reduce the number or add more social workers, I'd love to see that. And so I think, we've done most of it, but I think there could be room for more.
There is absolutely room for more staffing, assuming that we have the funding. So again, my recommendation would be to approve the LCAP as is tonight with the agreement that Dr. Lusher and I will bring back to you an agenda item in August for the 45-day on staffing, and then Rachel can walk you through that. And you can have a deliberation, and based on the funding that we have available to us, you can make a decision on what staff you would like to add.
Can we get a consensus for the board? Wait, please, that you're willing to have the discussion about adding some classified workers back to custodial?
I need to see the cost of benefits,
Discussion.
compensation, all that before. And plus there are other things. I think I don't want to say something that I can't follow through with.
I want to make sure that this doesn't just go away. I'd like to have us have a committed. I want us to commit to at least having a discussion during 45 minutes, 45 days.
days.
I think we can discuss it at any point in time, but I think the finances are important. I think the other thing to keep in mind is that as we get into bargaining, that's gonna be the biggest cost that we're gonna have to incur if we decide to do something around what our bargaining units are trying to achieve. And so I think that would be my priority.
But we can discuss.
I don't think there would be a problem having this discussion, right? I mean, that's all you're asking for,
Just
right?
asking for
It's just like, so I think that, you know, and you brought up social workers just a second ago, so I don't think there's a problem at least looking at it and talking about it.
So noted, I will make sure we follow through.
And I want to acknowledge that, we just heard from our DLAC representative who said, talked about, adding more community liaisons. I just want to acknowledge that.
Good staffing.
I'm not, do we have any school superintendent liaisons?
Yes.
Yes, we have 5 schools without community liaisons. It's carrying over the same from what this past school year was to next year. And so it's the Title I schools.
Yeah, for the record, could you name the 5 that don't have.
Off the top of my head, we're gonna do our best.
Yeah.
Lake, Impressa,
No, no.
Foothill has Vista, Alamosa,
And
Mission
Vista.
Mission Vista.
5.
Yeah, Mission Meadows is a Title I school.
So just for clarity, all of our community liaisons are funded with Title I funds, so that there's a reason why those are not included. They do not receive Title I funds. They have in the past, in previous years, had community liaisons, some of them full-time, some of them part-time, but currently we only fund community liaisons with Title I funds.
Yeah, man, at the same time, we have the community schools grants, so some have.
Yes.
to-
Correct.
That's correct.
Yep.
Right. Is that, okay,
Thank you.
very good. Okay, let's have a vote on item 7A. Because I think the motion has already been given.
Yes.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention?
Sure, this was working, sorry.
Okay, move on to item 7B. We have a motion to approve the 25-26 local performance indicators self-reflection report for reporting on the 2026 California Schools dashboard.
Same information, just a formality. And we can address it if you choose. The next 2 items, B and C, are basically an element of the LCAP.
We'll have a.
I'm, so moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any further discussion? Take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion passes. And move on to item 7C, adopt the Vista Unified School District Blueprint for Educational Excellence and Innovation for the 2026-2027 school year. Is there a motion?
I move that we approve 7C.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, is there any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Okay, item 7C passes, and here we're gonna move on, jump to 7M.
M, I believe.
Yes, M is in Michael, approve resolution 27-01 authorizing entry budget transfers.
Dr. Lusher?
So. Okay, I want to discuss the now therefore be it resolved, because basically, it says that. The superintendent or his designee can make necessary changes to the 26-27 budget after June 30th, but that's without board approval.
So I want to answer all of the questions absolutely correctly, and then if you want an explanation, you can give it. Correct is the answer to your question.
So, I have. Put my mind at ease, why would we do that?
Sure, so there's 2 items, so let's start with a general definition, so that way we know that we're talking about 2 separate things that are related. Intra and inter. Intra budget transfers are within the same fund, back and forth. Let me give an example of where that occurs on like every few days. When a budget is given to a school site, pots of money are allocated and then they transfer the money around based upon requests of teachers and what's happening. If we don't have this permission, this is, by the way, all school districts do this, then we need to hold a board meeting about every 2 days. for you to approve it. Otherwise, it's not that we changed the budget overall. We're not changing that. It's that the funds can move around as a reasonable action.
So is this something that we do every year?
Yes, this is something we do every year, and every school district is advised to do as part of responsible fiscal activity.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
That relieves.
Yeah. Yeah, and then inter is basically when we have cash flow things, like we have deferments of funds and payments and other things. We can borrow money from one area and move it to the other to make sure we have cash flow. We can't spend any other money, but we borrow against each other. And in this case, we notify you when we do it, but sometimes we don't know where that might occur. The state isn't always good about that. So for example, the state has been 2 months behind on payments on items. Now, we don't necessarily anticipate we have to do these things in terms of inter-district items, but we could do it. Let me give you an example practically, okay? If, for example, you have money in Fund 40 over here, that's a pot of money. Let's say there's $20 million sitting there. And we are over here in Measure LL waiting for bonds to be processed and paid, but we have a payment schedule over here. In an inter-transfer, we could borrow the money from Fund 40, use it for Measure LL, then when the money comes back into LL, we accounting, we move it back over. That's those examples of where it occurs. It occurs sometimes with Fund 1 where we pay people on a regular basis in terms of the money hasn't come in from the state yet. And if we think there's a cash shortfall or some sort of thing where we fall below a particular cash flow level, we're then permitted to move money around. So these are both regular annual items that come every year and are recommended for financial solvency. Thank you.
Traditionally, this one, just another way to think about it is traditionally, and the reason almost every school district, probably every school district does this, is for payroll. In the event that there's an issue from the state and something, payments held up, we need to pay our employees on time. So
And
it rarely
keep the
happens in our
electricity on.
district. This is like something that we do just in case. Unlikely we would use it, but we would definitely want to pay our employees on time.
Thank you. Okay, go ahead. My question. Months ago, I think it was October of last year, we made the request that any transfer at $500,000 above will be
Right.
brought to the board. Does that still stand if we use money transferred out to borrow?
Yeah, so we reported, we haven't done that. So there's nothing to report, but yeah, that's exactly what we would do in those cases. So all of those still stand. But again, this is two separate items. We still report to you the same way. It's simply, again, when we talk about inter versus intra, right? One is pretty common, just about school site operations, departmental operations, because.
We don't tell you when that happens because it's an internal.
Yeah, it's constantly an ongoing. For example, let's give a practical example, just day-to-day operations. We saw that fuel prices spiked, right? So we're not coming back to you and changing the budget for a department, but a department's probably not going to do some other things in order to make sure we have enough for fuel, right? So we just shift the money around in that way. If we wanted to change the budget, we come and talk with you. We tell you there's a change.
You're shifting money within one category of some.
Within one fund, yeah, back and forth within a fund.
The intro.
Yeah.
The inter, I want to be clear, trustee Martin, the inter would be between categories, and the Fund 40 is an example, Fund 40 Measure L is an example.
Yeah.
But the better example, and it hasn't happened in our district in a long time, would be for payroll purposes. And that has happened in many school districts.
Yeah. And the Fund 40 example I gave you was an example where this was passed again last year, where we did have money that had come in through a COP to Fund 40, but we had been awaiting for the Measure LL bond sales. Now, we didn't have to do it, but that would be an example of where it was definitively possible to keep Bovier on track, that we would have borrowed from one to the other. There would be no impact to projects, no impact to the intent of the district, but we would have borrowed against one for the other. Fortunately, we didn't have to do it.
This borrowing period, unlike another resolution, what is the term for payback on this one?
As soon as possible.
As soon as the state.
You always try, yeah, as soon as you get it, you move it back.
But the board would be notified, let's use this as an example, and it has not happened, and it probably will not happen next year based on what we project with regard to our budget. But let's say that we did need to do an inter, not an intra, an inter, we would notify the board immediately. You would get a text from me And then that Friday, you get a Friday letter with the details. And the board at that point could choose to hold a special meeting. So our intent is not to do anything the board isn't supportive of. Our intent is to keep the district run. That's the purpose of this.
And for clarity, there is one exception to this rule that we know of. When you establish a Fund 17, we may not borrow from Fund 17
That's-
without the explicit permission of the board beforehand, only from another account for solvency.
Is that also the same with books and supplies?
It's the same for any fund that the board, so there's different categories, and I want to be specific. Not in general for books or supplies, but there was a point in this district where the board did set aside a amount for books and supplies, and then you couldn't touch that without the board's permission. Anytime there's a special set aside specified by the board, you can't really touch that at all without the board's permission. This is just general day-to-day. Thank you.
I'm ready to make a motion. There's still more.
So, just to be clear, we are talking about item 7M.
Yeah.
Okay, you're ready to make a motion?
I am. I move that we approve item 7M.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstention? Okay, item 7M is passed. We move on to item 7N. Approve resolution 27-02 to establish interfund transfers of special or restricted fund monies.
So Dr. Lucia got ahead of himself. He already addressed this item, but we can readdress it should you choose.
Yeah, this one's, I have a couple of concerns. One is there's an awful lot of money moving around between these four resolutions. And so my question is there some big picture that I'm not aware of? Are we planning on consolidating money because we know we're gonna have to do more construction somewhere, or I'm not sure. I understand what I'm hearing is that this is kind of typical. I've never seen inter-budget transfers when I was working in accounting like this to just with no oversight, just kind of whenever you want to do it. So I guess my concern is that I feel like we need to be more informed when these things are happening. I know it's a point of order with a point of honor with Dr. Loescher when we do the audits, that the only thing he gets dinged on are the amount of transfers.
Yeah.
So.
Specifically, the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I definitely, if it's something that we necessarily need to do, my request here would be similar to what I asked months ago for financials. That you're putting in now the bank balances in the Friday letter. I would like to know, I just for my own peace of mind, I'd like to have a reporting of the transfers, where they're going, how much it is, and what to where.
Yes, ma'am.
From where to where and the amount. Is
So-
that something that we could possibly do on a monthly basis?
Well, we do that already with the 45-day revision. We report on so we notify you, but we also do it officially for the 45-day revision, first interim and second interim. So there's always that.
Every couple of months.
Yeah. And if we believe it's anything that would happen over a few weeks, we do go back at the next regular board meeting to report out for you. So that is something that regularly would. If you would like to have a monthly report, we could put that in the Friday letter, but it simply would read nothing unless we came to the next regular board meeting
It
typically.
would be mostly nothing in this case,
Yeah.
not the intra, but the inter.
At this point in time,
Mhm.
but as we move further, if the bill is
Good.
passed and we move further, I'm seeing that
Yeah.
we may be moving an awful lot of money around.
I would be very involved in that though.
I just want to be able to keep
Yeah.
track.
Yeah, the board member's correct. That does happen specifically among various restricted resources when you're dealing with financial bond sales and other things. And where we predict it will happen, we notify the board in advance. Absolutely. That's something that does occur. But we could also make it a monthly thing. That's not a problem.
Let me restate it. I just want to make sure we're communicating on this and make sure the rest of the board members are comfortable with this. So what I'm hearing from you, trustee Martin, is that in the event that we have an inter transfer between, you would like to be notified.
I would.
We always intended to do that.
Yeah.
We will notify you in the Friday letter if there's a movement.
Okay.
If you don't get notification, that means they haven't had any movement.
Right.
And the budgets remain as you've approved them.
And does that include the 500,000 limit? Or is that,
Well, we would do anything substantial, even below 500,000 if
I would
we
like to-
want you to be informed on this.
yes, I'd like to be informed,
Yeah.
just so I can follow the money,
Yeah.
that's it.
I think the bigger issue, and we'll talk about that for, well, maybe the 45 day, but probably not first interim, unaudited actuals.
Right.
Is when we'll talk about why, I know what you're referring to. Sometimes we have to move money around to maximize our funding sources. And that's what Anna's an expert at this. That's why she and her team do. And she'll walk you through that and tell you the rationale for why we move things around. Because I understand your perspective on it, and we want you to be informed. And the only purpose of moving things around is so that we can maximize our funding sources, so we can best use taxpayers' funds to support students and their learning. Go ahead, Anna.
Oh, I just want to mention that as part of the SAC report, there is a specific document, it's called the SIAA, which includes the inter-district transfer, inter-fund transfers. And one of the most common ones that I want to note that we do constantly is, for example, CNS is catering for a school. CNS is in Fund 13, the school is in Fund 1. That payment is an inter-fund transfer. It's a small payment sometimes, maybe $200, maybe, $1,000, depending on the size. That is reported, so you will see that during budget adoption, during the interims, and also,
Unaudited.
Yeah,
In the fall.
absolutely. Another thing is indirect costs. Other funds pay Fund 1, so pay, the whole team, the district team, the indirect costs, that's also reported there.
Earlier this year, when we did the budget workshops, if you remember, Anna and Sean walked you through, so we can have her come back and show you how to read that report that we'll give to you. So you can track it. But again, I want to be clear, we haven't flagged for the board these minor adjustments because there's too many of them. Let's see it as an example. We would flag for the board anything that's significant.
I'm thinking ahead to the bond passing, and I just want.
Yeah, we
the
will.
bond pass.
I know what you're asking for. So we'll make sure you get it.
Thank you.
There's no other questions, I ready to make a motion.
Okay.
I move that we approve item 7N.
Second.
Okay, is there any further discussion on 7N? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Okay, item 7N is passed.
7S.
We move on to item 7S. Approve resolution 27-08, authorizing the transfer of funds to the special reserve fund, Fund 17.
Special Reserve Fund, the Special Reserve Fund, Fund 17. Is, the way I'm understanding is anything besides capital outlay, would that be possible? Am I reading that right?
Anything besides capital? No, that's not an accurate assessment. So Fund 17 is established as the rainy day fund. Capital outlay in general does not qualify for it, neither does CNS funds. There's a whole variety of funding sources that do not qualify necessarily for Fund 17 for it, but it is a holding bin of funds that do qualify for a threshold level of 3, 5, or 7%, whatever you're targeting, so that way we can see it in a separate account. As discussed on the 10th of this month, the question was, did we establish Fund 17 and when do you go about funding it? The answer was, we don't go about funding it till you start closing books, and then we bring forward the resolution. So this was always the anticipated time for Fund 17's resolution to come forward.
So Fund 40 is where the capital outlay.
So capital outlay, that is the title of that particular account. Capital outlay resides in several places, but Fund 40 is one of those places where it resides, correct?
So I'm comfortable that Fund 17 is a holding fund. It's my understanding that that holding fund can also be used for employees aside from admin. Is that correct?
So I think we may be talking about two different things. So the EPA account is a holding amount within the LCAP that may not be used for admin, only for instructional matters. That is a separate matter. That's the one we'll vote on after the budget.
Just the next-
Right, for Fund 17, Fund 17 is not being used at all, okay? Fund 17 is a holding for an excess amounts for the special reserve, so it's reserved for special circumstances.
So let me say one more thing about this. These are all excellent questions, so I'm glad that you guys are asking these questions. Fund 17 is fully dependent upon the board defining what funds go into it and how those funds are used. There's no legal requirement for you to use them in any way other than what you define them to use.
So are we transferring funds into that tonight, the Fund 17 tonight?
No, what we're doing tonight is we're saying we can come back to you and present you with your options for doing so. Let me give some examples where there's would be nothing. For example, in open session, the board had a settlement agreement that will represent an influx. You can take that money and put it in
closed session.
17 instead of savings.
Also, is this the account that we could put our reserves in?
This account is the reserve.
Okay.
Right, so again, it's not being used. Typically, when we talk about economic theory in school districts, your legal minimum is 3% reserved for economic uncertainty. That's not your carryover amount, that's just that. This board has a policy of 5% that we interpret as meaning this year and next year. We don't necessarily look at that at year 3. Many places recommend 7 or 9%. And that's for cash flow purposes and other items. So what this amount is, think of it like a savings account. You put the money in the savings account, it counts towards your total. But in this case, when the money goes in savings account, kind of like I do with my son, he can't transfer the money out without my permission. So you know it's in the savings account. It's not just around there. It can't be touched by accident or on a withdrawal. So it's like what we used to call a safeguard, a procedural safeguard fund. So it sits in there and the board then decides, you have a conversation. We would like to see Fund 17 at the 3% level, at the 5% level, at the 7% level. You make that decision and then you draw upon it as you see fit if necessary.
Thank you.
That requires an action by the board.
Correct.
We can't draw on it. There's one other clarification I just want to make sure you're clear on. We had this conversation almost a year ago about establishing it, and the genesis of the conversation was that there's a new process in place. It hasn't fully played out yet. The state of California was called attendance recovery. And if you remember, we talked about, we're actually in the middle of it right now with our summer school programs. And we anticipate, we have not received the funding yet, we anticipate getting additional funds from the state recovering attendance that happened during the school year. We recommended at that time that you create a Fund 17, and that's where that money would go. Now, you have to make that decision, but let's say you do. Let's say we get $20 million in attendance recovery. I'm just making that number up. Then you would then have an action item. And if you all choose to vote to put it in 17, then Fund 17 then would have $20 million. It would be locked unless the board, through board action, decides to direct us to spend it in some manner. That's how Fund 17 is
So-
designed.
The funds that are in the reserve are where in the budget right now?
They're located in Fund 1.
So we would have to
General fund.
have an action item on a future board
Mhm.
meeting to transfer the money from Fund 1 into Fund 17 if we chose to do that.
Correct.
Okay,
Correct.
thank you.
That's the way it works.
And this will eliminate that confusion in the budget where it is
Good, yeah.
revenue, comma.
Trustee Martin, that's our theory. That has been our
We'll study
theory.
it, but-
We haven't done it, but that is one of the theories that we have put forward, that it is confusing and that it would be easier to recognize.
Yes.
And it would be the board's prerogative to transfer, if you so chose, you could say, we have 5% currently on year 1 sitting in Fund 1 for reserve for economic uncertainty. It is the board's prerogative to say, we choose to transfer that entire 5% to Fund 17, so you can see it in the savings account versus in the checking account for a simplified way of describing it. That is your prerogative. There are also other mechanisms to do that.
What we recommend you at least consider is to leave 3%, because that's traditionally what you do in Fund 1, general fund, and put the rest in Fund 17. So then you've got your 3, then you got your extra, and in theory, and some of you don't like this concept, we would build to 7 to 9%. And the reason Sean and I like to talk about 7 to 9 is that would cover payroll in the event that something catastrophic happened at the state level.
Yeah.
We are not there yet. But that's what we would recommend.
Right.
It's your decision how you choose to do it.
And as that fund grows, then we could draw off of it.
Exactly.
Salaries and.
Exactly.
It also earns interest.
It's a win-win.
Earns
Oh, yes.
interest.
Yeah, it's a win-win on every level.
Right, and so it's those things, for everything the superintendent described, but also it becomes important on districts with declining enrollment, allows for you to make longer lead times for decisions to be made while you watch for things to happen. If you have instability of federal or state budgets or because of declining enrollment, the more of a reserve you have, the softer of a landing you can bring in on items.
Excellent questions. I'm glad we're having this conversation.
I'm ready to make a motion.
Yep, so would you like to make a motion?
Certainly.
Okay.
I move that we approve item 7O.
S.
Establishing the fund.
S, 7S.
It'd be 7S.
Sorry,
Should be.
sorry, 7S,
Okay.
establishing Fund 17. I did get that far back.
Right.
Second.
Is there any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
I
Any opposed? Any abstention? Okay, item 7S is approved. After 7D, we'll move back to item 7D, adopt the Vista Unified School District budget for the 2026-2027 fiscal year.
I move that we adopt the Vista Unified School District budget for the 2026-27 fiscal year.
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion?
Yes. You talked to us about the latest budget. Which probably stuff, that's still pending, but it's the last update, what's been clear.
At the state level.
I describe it as frustrating. In a very abbreviated way, we do not see movement on full funding for education at this moment. We've seen additional tack-ons, including requirements for leave that have been placed upon the additional COLA amounts. Both actions technically illegal by state constitution. We are seeing that there is a high likelihood that on the 45-day revision, we will see upward adjustments on items, particularly for special education, and that's good news.
With trailer bill language though.
Yeah.
Important to note.
Yeah, so
Strings attached, basically.
strings attached, all sorts of things. But what we have been cautioned as it goes back and forth is there's still not finalized on it. So we'll be continuing to monitor. And then after it is, once we get to a point of passage, it's about 2 to 3 weeks for legal interpretation. So we're right up against the line for a 45-day revision. But we've already anticipated a couple of scenarios that we're looking at that we'll be able to present to the board, and we believe we'll be able to make an accurate presentation in August, pending final resolution, trailer bid language coming out for some of the limitations. But for me, in looking at this as, an educator of over 30 years experience, the Prop 39 stuff, it is extraordinary in terms of being able to not fully fund without a plan for repayment and without interest owed to the children's lives that it was borrowed from, in my opinion.
Got it. And with that being said, at least from what we know now, this budget, we are within our numbers, we are within our 3-year projections, we are good to go, and the county is not going to put us in a deficit spending district or we're spending more than we have.
I was looking to make sure that the podium's made of wood. Correct.
As of right now, based on the information we know, we believe that we're in positive certification territory. And we've already interfaced, Sean and the team, and Dr. Shigella as well, have interfaced with the county multiple times. The only reason we're hedging right now is because we do not have a state budget. So we anticipate that everything is correct the way it is. That's why the 45-day is so important. Now, if you remember in the past, we haven't had 45. There hasn't been a need to have a 45-day. So this is unique because they currently haven't. We're on June 25th. It should have been approved on June 15th, I believe.
Yeah.
So it hasn't been approved. So we think we know where it is. We've interfaced with the county. Everyone's on the same page, but they have not yet approved the budget.
I think
Unique.
I
Yeah.
need some clarification on that. So we were slated to cut 4.5 million this year and 8 million next year. That we haven't been officially notified by the county that we don't have to do that yet because the state hasn't sent down their budget. Do I have that right?
So,
I'll let him answer and then I can add.
so two separate things, the first to more succinctly answer trustee Vargas's question. The superintendent and I have discussed this. We're going to sign this budget. We remain confident to put our name on this
We have
budget
to
for
sign.
positive certification.
There's 3 signatures required, so the board has to sign off, I have to sign up as superintendent, and Sean has to sign up as CBO. So you need 3 people, 3 groups to agree to it, and we feel confident at this point in time. Based on that, that's why we're holding off on some items until the 45-day.
To address trustee Martin's statement, just for clarification for me, I believe you're talking about 2 separate items that were resolutions that called for a future reduction of items that the board passed. Those items, we will not receive any notice from the county ever on them. What those items stated was that this board agreed to reduce funds if all things remained the same.
From the governor's
Okay.
January budget.
So when you have a budget, it's based upon the previous 3-year projection. And what they're asking is, in this case, they stated, if all things remain the same on your existing budget, and you enter into agreements like the ones that were proposed for collective bargaining that had raises, that if nothing changed in your budget, if staffing levels remain the same, if the budget income remained the same, and your enrollment projections remain the same, in order to be solvent, you will have to cut this amount. And we require the board to acknowledge that they resolve that if nothing changes, they will cut that amount in the future. But then we got a new budget. And after getting a new budget,
And
we
we made adjustments to staffing.
Right,
We-
and
we
staffing.
reduced staffing.
And once you do that, now we're submitting in the submission process by saying we're solvent based upon the current plan. You're not committed to do those things because now we have a new plan. It's only when you do those salary adjustments in the middle of the year before a budget is known, does a county require a board to pass a resolution that if nothing changes in the future, you will honor your agreements and you will make those adjustments so you can make your salary increase requirements.
It strikes me as very interesting, difficult, because for 2 years we were thinking the sky is falling, the sky is falling. Or, you know, that we were gonna be insolvent in 2 years. But it's also kind of a repetitive action that I see. Is there any way to tighten up that 3rd year and a 3-year projection?
It's interesting you asked that question because there's actually buzz in Sacramento to get rid of the 3rd year. And the reason there's buzz is because the 3rd year is frustrating for everyone because it's really impossible. You're kind of guessing on the 3rd year. So it's interesting you have that frustration because it's shared across the state of California.
Any idea when they're gonna make a decision on that?
They're talking, as we speak, they're talking about it. If you wanted me to guess, my guess is they're probably not. They're probably gonna retain the 3rd year.
Is there anything that we can do
So-
to put pressure on? I mean, like, you know,
Well,
can we call?
You could.
yeah, there are things, the way that we've entrusted to share with the trustees. By technical definition, when you have a 5% reserve, which is your policy, we don't meet your policy requirements. It is specifically when asked by the county, it is my interpretation, that's the statement I make, that is impossible for me to calculate exactly what will be, which is why we put it on a 3% test. So we already do the maximum flex. We take year 3 and I've placed it at 3% because technically we don't meet our own requirements. And that's, yeah, for that 3rd year. So, and that is the way that I address that. So there is more room for the board and you're not simply focused, and those extra 2% do make a significant
Oh,
difference.
huge, especially with the budget our size.
Well-
There's 2 points of frustration though, that, and again, we hear you on the frustration. There are certain things in Sacramento they do, and I know Anna shares this, that we don't like, but we have to follow through on. The one key is that they have the 3-year multi, so it's a multi-year projection. That's one frustration point, because 3rd year is really tough. We're basically guessing. The other frustration point, and this is, I think, what's causing the consternation about feeling like things are moving around a lot between January and June. That is accurate, and it's because of the way the governor does his budget.
Correct.
So, and this is a game, guys. They do it on purpose. So he'll do a budget and undersell the budget in January. We are required by law to build a budget based on his underselling of the budget. And then they come back in May and say, oh, we're gonna give you more. See, I'm such a great governor. And then we have to rebuild it based on that. It's really frustrating for us, but that's how this works. So we have to build a budget based on what the projection is, and then change it in the May revise based on the revised projection and just in time for an adoption in June. And the other wrinkle that's added this year, the third wrinkle, is they didn't even approve the budget yet.
No.
So we don't even know what the state is gonna approve. We think we know.
And not just that, but we're gonna get a new governor. With the new governor comes new administration.
Right.
Yeah.
New priorities, and so we're gonna be back in this next year.
Right, right.
So it's a moving,
The
it's
beauty
a
of
moving
being a
target.
board member, seen it over the last 10 years. But I think, we have some bright hope.
Yeah.
That are very able to pass a measure in November that, what they're.
It would be great for
ready
us.
to play with.
It would be very good for us.
So just for clarification for those listening and also for myself, the $13 million that we were gonna cut for 27, 26, 27, 27, 28, we don't have to worry about that.
There is no requirement to do anything beyond past this. Okay, everything is embedded within this based upon what we know now. Now, let me fast forward. If we are to enter a new agreement in September, we will not know what a future budget is. And it will be the county's requirement for us to say, if you cannot demonstrate and prove you have this money in Fund 1, you are required, if you want to make this agreement that goes above your budget, you're required not to identify, but you resolve you will identify in the next budget cycle these things. And that's it would come back in that way, but it doesn't mean that you're insolvent. What it actually means from the county's perspective is if the board refuses to pass that resolution, they will not authorize the district to enter the collective bargaining agreement. Because they will say you cannot afford it. You will be bankrupt.
You have to prove you can pay for it.
So the resolution goes part and parcel with any sort of thing that you do. And it's not a real thing till you get into the next budget cycle and you know what the money will be. And I know that's
Which is
really
8 months
convoluted.
later.
Yeah, 8-9 months later.
So it's challenging, but that's one of the reasons why, when we developed this budget, we did shrink our staff. If we remember, we had meetings with all of you, and we're staffing more tightly so that we can save money because we're a declining enrollment school district, and position the board to have a conversation about increases to benefits. But in order to have those conversations, we need to have sufficient funding ready to be able to pay for that, because the county's gonna say, how are you gonna pay for this? We have to prove it. So it's all interconnected, but I understand your frustration. It is a moving target, but that's the structure of the state of California and how they do it. Every school district has to play by the same rules.
For accounting purposes, can we give them our events for year 1 and 2 and then give them the rosy projection for?
We have to prove it.
Let's have hope or something.
Anna, could we do that?
No.
I don't believe we
Remain
can.
seated down.
I can't say that to that.
They would just laugh. They would just laugh.
Okay, I'm good to go.
Okay, is there any further discussion on item 7D? We have a motion to pass it. We take a vote? Is all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Okay, item 7D passes. Move on to item 7E, approval of the long-range facility master plan update of 2026.
Yes, on the meeting of the 10th of this month, we held a workshop. You gave direction to Rennell Clark Architects on the long-range facility master plan. They incorporated those items in general, in terms of the sections that you asked for. They are working on some legally defensible language regarding a general overview of items. They want to make sure it's all legally defendable, but they felt that this time that the plan is in order, financially accurate to the best of their capabilities, and that the plan is live. Here is some wonderful news though. This plan is now online. It's not a printed version. And as an online version, as new information becomes available, they can continue to go back and modify it with board direction. So they asked that this item be placed on the agenda because they felt they met the spirit and the intent of the direction of the board.
The other thing I'd like to add to this is if the board chooses to approve it tonight, we would then use this as a tool during your finance work or your facilities workshops. We would use it kind of to drive your conversations.
I move that we approve the long range master facility plan.
Is there any further discussion?
Yeah, so this is a living, breathing document, so when would we need a overhaul of this whole thing again?
Yeah, it's advisable for significant overhauls every 3 years. It's advisable. The fund that you typically use to do this is not Fund 1. You typically use developer fees or other restricted resources to do it. But every 3 years is the recommendation because market conditions change so significantly over those 3 years. And also scientific methods for calculating facilities change about every 3 years.
This is not a requirement in the state, right?
It is now a requirement from the state of California. In prior years, before Proposition 2, there was no requirement. It was highly recommended and advised. And we conducted one which helped to guide decision-making processes. But no, it is now a requirement for all school districts to have an item like this in place.
Are there any other neighboring districts that have already approved a version of this?
I believe Oceanside Unified has updated theirs. I believe Ronald Clark has worked with Escondido Union, Escondido High School District. San Diego Unified, I think, has the heaviest lift. They're in the process of getting through all of that with over 221 institutions. So I believe everybody is in the process of some form or version. This one, because we had the previous plan, this one is actually more interactive and more in-depth than other districts' first draft plans. You typically can't knock it all out in one go. So this is the second iteration and a lot more accurate, and the superintendent's accurate. We continue to use the old plan because the old one's the only one the board approved. But should the board approve this tonight, we would be changing the amount that we talked about because the amount listed here is significantly different than the previous plan for the amount of funding required to bring all schools up to speed within 20 years.
In addition to approving this, which I'm supportive, is there an opportunity to also do a couple community workshops on this topic and teach the community members that may be interested in this topic of how this tool works?
I think there is a group of people who would love to do that. Honestly, the facility part of this is one that is not deeply understood. And I think any community education engagement program helps out, and we do have people that can do that.
Yeah, in addition, I think, there's probably some opportunities for our students to use this tool and, use it as a learning opportunity, engage, and, obviously there's like the advocacy component, there's the understanding of like engineering and architectural plans. There is like the, how to set up a budget. And so there's a lot of like, tools that we can integrate this plan for, learning of our students, and why not? When we have, this rich information and database.
Yes. I do have an question. Who updates this? Like, let's say the price of steel goes through the roof next year.
So there are people approved to do, there's two different types of updates, okay? Or actually multiple different types of updates. Let's start with 3 big buckets, okay? The one you're talking about right now is cost and pricing. Cost and pricing has to be based on an objective criteria. The objective criteria that's the gold standard for this sort of thing, using industry language, is called the Sierra West methodology. It's a published methodology, and architects and engineers will use that methodology, okay? The second portion of this is something that has to do with the engineering assessment reports. If something new is known, for example, if it is discovered or found out that a particular metallurgy reacts to salt water in a different way than anticipated due to a new scientific report, only a licensed engineer would be able to go into our data and change that. We can't do it. The other part is a general description. So general descriptions of sites is something that the district could do ourselves, okay? But it's not advisable to just change it. You want, because every piece of language also has some legal implications. But those are the three sort of big categories and big buckets. In order to deal with what you're talking about, there is a part of our long-range facility master plan that is unique to our zone and area. And within our long-range facility master plan, it's misunderstood. It's called a market factor adjustment. Okay, some people have commented at this podium that that has to do with the type of labor or contracting we use. That's not the market factor adjustment. The market factor adjustment is that we're in a high volatility market for labor and consumables and materials
Geographic location.
because of our geographic location and labor typical shortfalls in different areas. And therefore, we have found that the Sierra West methodology seems to consistently fall short in those areas. So we built in a market factor adjustment saying, it seems here in this area, we have this ongoing thing. And it's one of the reasons that we've been able to come to you on a wide variety of projects for Measure LL at budget, and other districts did not. Okay, so that is the most abbreviated answer.
Yeah, so that's accounted for in the market factor.
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. That's good. All right. Did we already have a motion to pass this?
Yes, we did.
We did, okay, that's a motion by trustee Morocco, second by trustee Alvarado. Is there any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Item 7E is passed. Move on to item 7F. The 2025-2026 Proposition 28 Arts and Music and Schools Grant Annual Board Report.
I move that we approve item 7F, the 2025-2026 Proposition 28 Arts and Music and Schools Grant Annual Board Report. Second.
Is there any comments or questions on this?
Can I make a quick statement?
Yes, please.
I just want to recognize all of the art teachers in our school district and the music teachers. They've done just an absolutely fabulous job as a school district. We've been recognized nationally as an art mecca. And we really lead the county, and that's in large part to our amazing educators. I just want to on record say that it's fantastic people.
I agree. Well said. Thank you.
All right, we'll take a vote on this. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Okay, item pass. We'll move on to item 7G, approve the MOU between Vista Unified School District and the California School Employees Association, Chapter 389.
I approve that we approve item 7.
Is there a second?
Second.
And do we have discussion or questions or comments?
Yeah, for the mechanic, I know we're going into the electrical buses, like, so is there any movement on moving in that direction, or we still like consultants, the businesses that?
I'm probably going to defer that question to Dr. Loescher. As far as the job descriptions, we're making sure that it's, I don't want to say generic, but basic enough that it will cover those types. But as far as the electric buses and the mechanics adjustment to those. Sorry.
Forgive me. Specific question was on our mechanics and the electric. Yeah.
As it relates to the job description.
Yeah. So the job descriptions are written broadly, and our mechanics are gonna have an interesting several years on this, because gas diesel still can't go away because of the length of time, or the length of some of our travel. So we're retaining a portion of our fleet until new battery technology will allow for us to go. But we have just found in the last year that the first, actually not the last year, last 2 months, the first electrical mechanical training for buses has started to emerge. And our intention has always been that we'll continue to need these items happening, and that we'll be able to train our mechanics to become the EV technicians for those buses. Now, we don't fully know what that looks like because we haven't been through the training program, but it's anticipated that they will look and learn about battery technologies, both fluid and solid state batteries, electrical mechanics and electrical engines, but also computer systems, because these are highly sophisticated computer devices. And that they also will have some training on the charging systems, because the charging systems in and of themselves. We feel confident with what HR has done and the work that they've done, that what they're supplying will allow for us to make all those adjustments smoothly. But we do also anticipate, after learning more, we may come back in the next couple of years and suggest that positions maybe look different in different ways as we get used to this technology. We do have about a 5-year window to make this, because the buses are under warranty. And so they go back and forth on that. Okay.
Thank you. And I do anticipate that we would come back together after they start doing the initial trainings and review those job descriptions. I don't believe we'd need to have a consulting firm do that for us.
Got it. Then the second question is on the dispatcher. I has come to, you made aware that, you know, in the shares, there's the AI systems that are updating the AI work in there. And so I know we have a policy on, you know, how do we use technology, and obviously, you know, working with our bargaining units, but any discussion around that as relates to this attachment here for the dispatcher position?
Not for this position in particular, but we have started having AI conversations with classified staff in general, how it's impacting different positions, and having those conversations now, preparing for that. And so if those do impact those, we would update those job descriptions at that time.
Okay, any further discussion for item 7G? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstention? Okay, item 7B passes. Move on to item 7H, approve the MOU between Vista Unified School District and the California School Employees Association, Chapter 389, regarding the changes to job classification descriptions for human resources.
I move that we approve item 7H.
We have- Second, okay. Is there any comments or discussion for that? Okay, all those in favor of approving 7H? Aye. All those, any opposed, any abstention? Okay, item 7H is passed. Item 7I is approved the MOU between Vista Unified School District and the California School Employees Association, Chapter 389, regarding changes to job classification descriptions for new job classification school health medical biller.
I move that we approve item 7I. Second.
Is there any discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Okay, item 7I is passed. 7J, approve the MOU between Vista Unified School District and the California School Employees Association, Chapter 389, for transportation services.
I move that we approve item 7J. Second.
Rachel, for this one, how many bus drivers do we have for the next academic year, and what is our cap?
I'll have to provide you that update in the Friday letter. There's some changes going on right now based on the elimination of the Beauvillier routes and the addition of additional special ed routes. So there will be some changes going into this next year, but we'll get you a final number.
Okay, no, that would be great, and I know that in the future, there's often a conversation about Vita, and so
Yes.
we anticipate that could be a potential conflict, I mean, but something I'm thinking about.
And they are finalizing the routes now. We've been having some discussions on the shift from the Beauvillier because they're combined with middle school. And so we've been discussing what that might look like for the bus drivers.
Thank you.
Another question, how much have we spent on the incentive so far?
I can get you that in the Friday letter too. Would you like it from the beginning? This is the 3rd year for the MOU, so I can go back and get the incentive for that time period.
Or in the last year, I'm just curious,
Okay.
and are we considering that a successful move? Having the incentive?
We have had vacancies, however, we have not had the vacancies that we had in the past. And we have looked at the data on the amount we've spent for contracting out, and it's gone significantly down. So that shows definitely that it is working, and I can bring that back out and kind of put that in with the route numbers and the cost of the incentives.
Any further discussion? Okay, call for the vote. Yeah, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Okay, item 7J is passed. Item 7K, approve substitute teacher pay rate schedule effective July 1st, 2026.
I need a point of clarification since my husband is a substitute teacher. I believe I need to abstain from this.
It would be better
Mhm.
to avoid any appearance.
No problem.
Rachel, is this any different than what we're doing this year?
So it is a continuation from last year. When we came up with the temporary rates, we put it in the LCAP through next year. And so the goal right now is to continue that until we see all of the substitute rates across the county stabilize. And so we have been monitoring that, and that's why the funding has shifted from prior to this, it was ESSER funds and COVID funds, and now it is some with the special education, but I thought I had it on here. Learning recovery block grant. So it's still identified in the LCAP, so we're continuing that, but I think I plan on next year, we're most likely gonna have to settle on a permanent rate, so I would not be bringing it back to you every year.
But the purpose of it is so that we're competitive in the county.
But no COLA added to this.
No, this is exactly from last year, but this is at the highest, one of the highest rates in the county.
So we're competitive.
I understand that, but cost of living is also gonna have. If I were to make an amendment of like adding like $8 to each of those positions, did we do that tonight or?
No.
So from 190 to 198, $208. That's about 4% more or less.
I think that, well, we can pause, table this, and bring it back at our next meeting. I don't think it has to happen tonight.
We just like to advertise to the substitutes during the month of July what the pay will be. We could say that there could be a potential increase pending board approval, but right now we like to establish the rates with the substitutes as we're advertising it.
Or you could just approve this tonight, we can bring it back to you again with an increase.
You could approve it this way and I'll communicate it this way with the $8. I don't know what the cost of that will be.
Costed it out for you.
Yeah.
It makes me uncomfortable for you to approve something and we haven't shown you the cost impact. So you could approve it
I
tonight.
can bring it back
we can
July
bring it back.
16th.
You can bring it back with more information, or you can just pause on it and we can bring it back to you in July.
But right now we have like 765,000, up to 765,000 allocated from the block grant.
So yes, so what that 765,000 has been is just the difference between our rate that used to be 120 and 140. And so it's the difference between that and the rate it is now, that's the 765.
We're just closing the gap.
I will make a motion to approve it, but with the understanding that it'll come back. Okay. And we can talk about it at that time.
Right. And it'd be early, it's mid-July that we have our next board meeting, so that should be enough.
You have a second?
Second.
Any opposed? Any abstention?
I abstain.
One abstention, okay. Motion passes 4 yeses, 1 abstention. Move on to item 7L, ratified purchase orders.
Was working on the tech glitch. Is it working okay? Yeah. That's weird.
I know
You're reading that?
approve 7L.
Second.
Any discussion with ratified purchase orders? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention?
I abstain since I'm a stockholder in Costco and we purchase from Costco.
All right, okay, item 7L is passed for 4 yes and 1 abstention. Move on to item 7O. Adopt resolution 27-07 for the education protection account. Spending determination for the 26-27 school year.
I think you want Dr. Locher to answer this because that was one of your questions.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think you already answered it because you explained that the EPA, I'm good with this. I don't know if my colleagues have any.
It
Yeah,
basically
okay.
goes along with the LCAP we
Right.
just approved and it's for staffing.
Perfect. So
Teacher
I-
staff.
I move that we approve item 7O.
We have a second?
Second.
I do need one discussion.
Yeah,
I heard that it was for teachers only, or teacher staff, but could this be also for classified?
No, it has to be for teacher staffing and it's allocated as such within the budget.
So because of the education placement.
Correct. It's a legal technicality. It is already calculated into the total budget. It's not additional. It's, again, very confusing. But yes, it's earmarked as going for teacher budgets.
I do have a question. Is it just for salaries or can it be used on benefits?
The salaries and benefits.
And benefits?
It's both, yes, both. It's staff.
okay, any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstention? Okay, item 7O is passed. 7P, approval for appointment of new members to vacant positions on the Citizens Bond Oversight Committee for 1-year term from Measure LL.
I move that we approve item 7P.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion?
Dr. Loescher, Lisa's attendance, has she attended most meetings?
She's attended, I believe, 50% of the meetings during the course of this year. She's also on a city commission and had a few things. There were a total of 5 meetings this year. I don't think she made the first one or the third one. I think she made the second, fourth, and fifth meeting.
Any further discussion? Good, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, it's item 7Q is passed. Item Q. 7Q, approve resolution 27-09 to piggyback on the Equalis Group contract. COG-2160B awarded to Lenovo.
I move that we approve item 7Q.
Second.
Okay. Is there any discussion on this one?
I do, is Lenovo, AI related?
Only insofar that all computers can
Hard.
access AI. It's not AI in and of itself. It's a
hard.
device.
Hardware.
You're currently using a Dell computer. This is a different standard branding. Yeah.
Yeah, and are we not trying to limit, so should we be buying less replacement computers?
Well, we actually have that in the budget. This is not about the total number of devices. That's decided upon in the budget. This permits us to have the best cost and pricing for this device for items that have been identified for replacement and are approved for replacement.
And so you have no total quantity in mind, it's just blanket in case we need to replace.
Right, the amount is budgeted for what's called a replacement cycle. So every computer, for example, staff computers only last 4 years before they have to be replaced. They can't even be updated for security and safety concerns beyond a certain period. So we budget based upon that sort of activity, and then we do general budgeting for any replacement device. This is not representing an increase. This is representing just the budgeted amount for replacement. With one caveat, a few years ago, we did move our replacement cycle from what's called a 1/4, 1/5 cycle to a 1/5, 1/6, meaning the lead times are getting longer on replacement cycles, which reduces the annual budget significantly.
Okay.
Okay, is there any further discussion? All right, call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Okay. Item 7Q is passed. And then item 7R is approve resolution 27-10 feedback on the Downey Unified School District contract number 1695400 bid 2526-18 awarded to Apple.
I move that we approve item 7R.
Second.
Is there any discussion here? Sorry. Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstention? Okay, item 7R is passed. We'll be moving on the consent calendar, but unless you guys would like to take a take a little bit of a break. Take
Well,
10.
You wanna pull something, you wanna take the.
Why don't we take a break? We'll come back and
Okay.
talk. But we'll come back at, let's say, Okay, the meeting is back online at 8:49. Moving on to consent calendar. All matters listed on the consent calendar are considered by the board to be routine and will be enacted by the board in one motion in the form listed below. There will be no discussion on these items prior to the time the board votes on the motion, unless members of the board, staff, or public request specific items to be discussed and or removed from consent calendar. Is there anybody, any items that you guys would like to pull to talk?
Not any longer.
Not any longer. Okay. I'll entertain a motion for the consent calendar.
I move to approve item 8, the consent calendar.
Oh, this is 8 through 13.
I move to approve 8 through 13.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Okay, consent calendar is approved. Okay, we move on to 17A, I guess.
Yeah, the only quick statement I have is we did complete most of our summer sessions, or at least the first round of summer sessions. And I want to thank Dr. Shigella and his team and all the teachers and staff members who supported it. I was able to go to each of the sessions, including special education and English learners. And it was fantastic. We had thousands of kids. We'll give you a report in a couple of months, but it was fantastic. And it just makes me proud that our staff, our teachers, not only work hard during the year, but they commit during December. I was at RBV talking to a bunch of teachers in the English and math section. I'm just so proud of the work they're doing. It's good for our kids. So thank you again, officially.
Okay, we'll move on to item 18A, approved facilities workshop dates, July 30th, August 27th, September 23rd, and October 22nd.
So these are arbitrary dates that we set based on where we thought it would work with the calendar. This is your opportunity to talk about it because Sean and I need to prep, so we do need to have some dates.
I can't make July 30th at all.
I can't make September 23rd.
So we can talk about like alternatives.
Yeah.
Or whatever you guys are comfortable with. If we could start with July, that would be great, or August. It doesn't have to happen in July.
Okay, well, at this point right now, August 27th and 22nd, everybody's okay with?
Yeah.
Wait.
August 27th. And September, oh no, October 22nd. Does everyone agree
Yeah.
to those two?
August 27th, good, and October 2nd.
22nd. We good? All right, so we're halfway there.
So halfway there, so, but we need a July and a September.
It would be great if we could get them. We don't have to have it in July, but it would be good to get it started.
This is for some facilities
Only facilities, the special board meetings for facilities.
is preparation.
Correct.
Is there a union, is there a VTA or any of the unions meeting here on the 27th?
August 27th?
July.
July 27th? That's a special board meeting. The board meeting is July 15th. The regularly scheduled board meeting is July 15th.
Our meeting is in the morning.
Okay, so, but July, I can make July 27th for this, facilities workshop.
And everyone else make July 27th.
So yes.
It's a Monday.
We'll be out of town.
Any other day that week, perhaps?
I'm basically available the 28th and 29th. Or the 31st.
28 works for me.
29th would work for me.
I heard 29 or 28. How about 28? Would 28 work for
28
everybody?
does not work for me.
Okay. How about the 29th?
And I can do.
That's a Wednesday. Everyone comfortable with the 29th, a Wednesday?
Yes.
Okay, July 29th. One more date. Okay.
So
In September, in a perfect world, we would have 4. We don't have to have 4. We can go with 3, but it would be good to have a September as a backup.
Whatever you're not.
Go ahead, just stick with 3 for now, and then we
Yeah.
can decide later.
Let's stick with
Let's
three.
stick with 3, and then we'll confirm all this and put it on your schedule. So I'm gonna say it again. We have July 29th, August 27th, and October 22nd. And we'll put it on your agendas as well, your schedules. And I'll hand it back to our board president. That's all I needed. Thank you.
Okay, great. We're gonna move on to item 17, or sorry, 18B. I think that we've kind of had a discussion earlier about bringing back,
The items.
yeah, the items, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I have all that written down.
Yeah, so that's-
I have it all.
And maybe we don't have to put it on a future agenda item, but it might be nice to have in the Friday letter and then, you know, cross post for the public. The gentleman you spoke earlier about screens, maybe we could have published some sort of update about that.
Okay.
You know,
We can do that.
about where the board's direction is and where the district is looking.
Would it be okay if we did that in August?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
gives Dr. Shigella a little bit of time.
Yeah, because we have made progress on that.
Well,
So I think it's important that
yeah.
the community know.
We'll address it.
Yeah. And can you guys give us a report on EK using tablets?
Okay.
What they're using it for, please?
Yeah, we'll talk to the principals.
TK through 2.
Can we put that on the agenda? I don't think we should, can we put that as a discussion item on the next agenda about TK using tablets? Is that?
Well, I mean, you can do whatever you want. I think what we should do is the principals come back, they're gone now. They
Okay.
come back in towards the end of July. Let's have a discussion to find out if that's happening and at what schools.
Right, because the acceptable use policy might just have to be updated. But I want more information if they are. Because okay,
Yeah,
that's
what-
enough said,
Sorry,
sorry.
what I'm hearing from all of you, because they're all interconnected, is we will do an update in the Friday letter first and start with the Friday letter. Because I think what would be helpful for the board to know is some of the specifics about these other districts that were referenced tonight and what they're doing as it relates to screen time, so you have some context. And then we'll put below it the context of where we are and what we anticipate doing. And then we'll agendize it at a future board meeting so you can give us more direction on that.
And then I want more information on what our obligations are to the state for reporting progress, right? That's been a tool, right? Is it a mandated thing that we report progress to the state using something like iReady or NWA or something? Is that a mandate?
Your local assessments you're talking about.
Right, local assessments.
Yeah, we can put that in the Friday letter too.
And if so, how that's related and what's being used.
Got it.
Please.
We can do that for you. The technical answer is, yes, we're required to provide local assessments. But because they're local, not every district has to use the same type of assessments. But we'll give you a more comprehensive answer.
Thank you.
Okay, and I would, we can move on to items 18C and 18D have reports, comments, and reflection. You guys have anything to report out?
Well,
No, go ahead, let's just go ahead, you start. Chris.
Well, comments, I just want to thank all of the staff for the work that y'all have put forth for our LCAP, our budget.
Yeah.
We are a very informed board, and I know that the work is arduous at times, and I just want to say thank you for everything that you guys do. The hours, the amount of information you provide to us so that we make informed decisions. So I just want to show gratitude because we have a lot of meetings and you guys are, thank you. That's all I want to say. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
I agree.
We agree.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
we appreciate our staff
Well done.
very much. Well, I was just gonna report out about graduation,
Sure.
like
Mhm.
7 of them,
That was awesome.
promotions and graduations, so. And just so proud of our kids, and it's so bittersweet, like, we don't have our student board members, and I kind of miss them. I do miss them a lot, and I miss all the kids, so, but I'm so happy, excited for them, and I can't, looking forward to the new ones that come forward, but. Yeah, and, I think that's about it. It's just those graduations, which were awesome.
All right. All right, I think that we're here.
Did you have?
Did you want to say anything? Okay, I think we're gonna call this.
That's not bad before 9 o'clock.
Meeting.